Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Confidence Faith Podcast, Move Forward in Love. I'm your host, Samantha, or Dr. Sam, and today we have a special guest. We have Kelly, and Kelly is amazing. So I'm going to read you a little bio about her. Her name is Kelly Boyer. She's an international speaker. She's an intuitive business strategist and an award-winning holistic practitioner. As a founder of SheRises Consulting and SheRises Amplify and Thrive Foundation, she empowers visionary women to amplify their leadership and align their business with their essence. And so today, we're going to talk about the importance of developing relationships in business. But first, I'm just going to let Kelly introduce herself because she's going to do a better job. So, will you tell everybody, the world, who you are, Kelly?
Yes. Oh, I'd love to. First, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited and been looking forward to our conversation because I love you and the other conversations we've had have been so empowering. But as Dr. Sam said, my name is Kelly Boyer. I work with women. I work with women in business. I mean, in a nutshell, my goal, just like you and me and you, Sam, were talking about before this, is I want to bring women I want them to step into their own leadership, step into their own empowerment. I want women to not be afraid to step forward and say, I have this idea. I want to create it. I want to bring it to life. Um, I do believe that all of us here do have a purpose and a mission. And my purpose and mission is to help women not be afraid to be seen, to be heard, and to stand strong and tall in their purpose and their belief. So I love to do that through business because I love creating things. So when somebody comes to me and they're like, I have this idea, I'm all about, well, let's start putting it together. And
Love it.
within 15, 20 minutes, I literally will have your business put together because I want us to get out there. The main thing that I do work with besides mindset, I do a lot of mindset coaching and shifting when I'm working with a woman where we're starting her business from the ground up. A lot of fears come up, rightfully so, because of everything that we've been told of how we have to be. And all of that is a lie. We don't have to be anything but authentically ourselves. So
Yes.
having to help guide and pull that forward can take a little bit of time. There's a lot of fears and beliefs around that. But in my mind, we can debunk any fear or any belief and really help people to see who they genuinely beautifully are. Um, but I'm also a lot about structure. I love structures. I love systems. So a lot of that work is also working on the back end because when we're done, I want women to step out there and do the thing they came here to do with how without having to worry about all of the business stuff in the back end. So if we need to create a website, we will. If we need your marketing, your branding, your content, anything that is required about structuring the behind the scenes stuff, I want to support that because I think of business like your body. You need to have the bones of your body to stand up. Otherwise, you're just going to be this blobby thing blobbing around, right? So the structure is the bones, and then the outer layer is your genius, your beauty, your authenticity, what you're giving to the world. So it's important for us to have structures that are in place, that are sustainable, reliable, so that, like I said, so that women go out there and be superheroes, what they came here to be.
I
So
love that.
that's what I'm all about. I love it. I love anything that has to do with leadership, women empower, like women just being empowered.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm here. That is what I'm here to do.
I love it. Guys, we should all be that strong. And I love the fact that Kelly isn't just taking one aspect. She literally has taken surface and then gone all the way deep and then brings it back so that you can exit back into the physical world or the surface level world prepared. And I think something you said is really intriguing is that women are superheroes because we carry so much, but with all of that comes with the emotional stress. And so if you're not prepared on the fears and anxiety that are going to come up, especially if you're starting a business, it's really hard to relate to other people. It's hard to walk into a room and feel that you deserve to be there. Because most of us, I think, are taught that we are only valued because of our output, whereas the truth is we're valued because of our essence. So just because you don't have a degree doesn't mean you don't deserve to be in the room. Just because you have a kid and your schedule looks different than other people or people are judging you doesn't mean you're not doing it to the best of your abilities. And I feel like you're really tackling that head on, and it's become like a powerhouse behind you to like say, "Hey ladies, let's just shut out all that negativity and let's move forward." Does that like align exactly with what you're saying? 'Cause that's what I got from it.
Yes. And well, you know what? I love the fact that you talked about being a mom. I'm actually not even some. I'm gonna say the majority of women who are also mothers who have ideas are you like in my mind or in my experience, I've always been the best entrepreneurs because like as a mom, you know that juggling a home and everything you have to do plus we're making sure that the kids are taken care of. We've got to adjust a schedule when we have a child that's not feeling well. We have to also like really try to maintain ourselves because if we are not emotionally and physically well, the household can dip, and then it's kind of like we're having to catch up with everything. We've got sporting events, we've got dinner and breakfast and lunch to make, we've got school events, we've got wash we have to do, we've got cleaning we have to do. And a lot of times I don't think that that's recognized. Like when I hear people say I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm like hallelujah to you, because to me that's one of the hardest jobs. But here's what you get out of that is that when we move into entrepreneurship, we really get down to being detail oriented. We understand, I think we become more empathic with the people that we're wanting to connect to. I'm telling you, how like stay-at-home moms always have the best inventions of things to create because they've already created it for themselves just out of need and efficiency. So let's bring that out into the world. So I think there are so many things that are having to just go on in that. And I'm not saying that only stay-at-home moms are like the bomb in entrepreneurship. I
Yeah.
think it is across the board, but they bring something to the game that is different than I think than somebody who, and I'm not knocking education, but somebody who has invested a lot of in education. This is a person, like a stay-at-home mom is somebody who's invested in relationships,
Yeah.
like really in relationships. Like you want to talk about relationship juggling? Let's talk about a mom that has kids. Do you know what
Right.
I mean? So it's like, um, anyways, I just wanted to bring that up because I don't like, again, I don't think that there's anything that is off the table. If you have an idea and you can feel that and it gives you that passion and it's lighting your fire, let's bring that idea out and open because you need to be seen and heard. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I was gonna say, if your spirit was kind of moved in a negative sense when she was like, stay-at-home moms, have the best entrepreneurship, I want to let you know that everyone's on a different spiritual journey. So
Correct.
it doesn't matter that she says that because it doesn't down your light because your purpose in your being may be, I don't know, editing a magazine, whereas this stay-at-home mom might be trying to figure out how to create a way to like carry six kids and grocery bags on a cart. I mean, it's very different. So don't run into that negative energy and hold it and say maybe I shouldn't. No, step into that maybe I shouldn't and say, but I still should. Because
Mhm.
you have to understand that everyone's going to be better. Someone is going to be better than you. Someone's going to have a better plan, financial backing, educational matter. It doesn't matter because we can't all start on the same line essentially because it hinders our path. So for me, I had so like the first business I tried, I had my child and I got kicked out of a group because I made a comment about discipline. And
Oh,
it hurt my feelings a lot because I was like, everyone should have their opinions. It wasn't like abuse your child. And they didn't like that. And I was in the wrong group. So I tried to start my own group out of spite, and it didn't work. So that person's goal was to touch people that were in that group. I didn't have that agreement, and it was okay. And so if you're going to start a business, please make sure you're not doing it out of spite towards another situation, because you're not going to get that far because your ethics behind it isn't positive and your sentiment behind it isn't truth. It's an ego-based reaction towards another person or situation. And that's not really what you want to start your business on, because that means you're going to constantly have to feed it with negativity to sustain the drive to actually keep it off the ground. So it's okay if we all have different spiritual paths. It's okay if you're not a stay-at-home mom. Keep going. Keep going. I mean, I feel like that's a really big thing because I've felt that, like, where someone said, "Oh, so and so is great." And I'm like, "Ooh, well, I'm not that kind of person. Maybe I won't do as well." And that's just not the case all the time.
yeah, it's not true at all. Like I was never a stay-at-home mom. Like, like as we talked before, like I was a single mom. I also had to work and and figure out how to juggle all of that. So I've always been a working person. Like I've always been working. I've always been in that direction. And so I just want, like, as an example, like I don't know how to relate to a stay-at-home mom. I watched my mom and I watched friends who are and like and talk to their brilliance. You know what I mean? Because I think they're so brilliant to be able to do all of that. But I agree. I'm also not knocking people that take the other route where, maybe they do have children, maybe they don't have children, maybe they're just very career oriented. We are all on different levels, and we are on the level that we need to be able to start anything that we want to start. I think there's two things that are really important. Just start and invest in yourself. I think that's all in one. The other one is creating the right relationships of support so that when it's hard, you don't give up and you have people that are in your corner. And what do I mean by people in your corner? People who are supporting you, they may not fully see your vision, but they see your passion. So they want to support it, because not everybody needs to agree with your vision, and that's okay. I
Yeah.
think the other thing is um having that support that's very honest and candid. Like it's got to be honest. When you are burning yourself out, you need somebody to say you need to stop and go take, mine is I go take a bath. So go take a bath, go do that now. And I have friends that do that because I am a workhorse. I love to work. I love to be busy, but I also know that my energy from the way that I am is not necessarily sustainable like possibly someone else. So when I start getting cranky and hating the world, as my friend says, she says, go take a bath. And as much as I want to fight that, right? Because I'm like, I don't need a bath right now. I have all this stuff that I need to do. I'm on a mission. She's like, no, because exactly back what you said, if I'm moving from through with that negative energy behind it, that's what I'm putting into whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
Do I expect to bring clients? Do I expect to have positive relationships with people that maybe I partner with? Yeah, that's not going to happen because nobody wants negativity. And it truthfully, negativity will only sustain you for so long. Like
Yeah.
it's just not going to work. So, as much as I tantrum when I hear that, I do know that it's in my best interest. And of course,
Yeah.
when I go and take my bath and I come out, I'm like this brand new woman, and I'm like,
Right.
woo, I can't wait to do what I'm supposed to do. But we need honesty in our relationships, whether we want to hear it or not. We need those people
Yes.
that aren't afraid to step up and do that. We also
Absolutely.
we also need those people that when in relationships that when we feel stuck, they can take our hand and just help gently glide us to the next place we need to be. Or
Absolutely.
as I say with my other women friends, when they have stuff that's going on, I'm like, are you looking for my insight? Are you wanting me to listen, or do you just want me to sit in your cave next to you while you do whatever it is you need to do and just let you do it so you're not alone? So I think most importantly, when we talk about business, or even if you want to relate it to career, it's important to have those relationships and those supports. I'm going to say, especially as women, that where it can lift us up when we need to be lifted up, where they can be honest when we're not hearing or seeing what it is that we need to see, but we just need someone.
Yeah. So on the 8 levels of love, what you're talking about is the inner circle of it's like your siblings, your family, your friends, the people that you have the same experiences and loyalty and like interests with. And when you're choosing your inner circle, it is super important, especially if you're going to go into entrepreneurship, because just like Kelly's saying, like you need someone because I don't care what anybody says. Everyone's been in that back room crying about how it's not working or how they're a failure and this, that, and the other. And it doesn't just stop like after the first month. It doesn't stop like after the first year. You're gonna keep going up and down. And so I think if you're part of somebody's inner circle, something Kelly said was you need to ask, how can I be there for you? And even if you're that's not an entrepreneur that you're talking about and you just want to be a good friend, how do you want me to show up for you in this relationship and at this time to best serve you? Because I know sometimes I give advice and then I feel like the person was like, well, you just made that about you. And I'm like, well, I was just trying to relate and let you like feel,
Yeah.
compassion or whatever. But it doesn't always come across that way. And so I guess when dealing with relationships in business and entrepreneurship and being the inner circle for that person, like, what is the importance of picking the right people for your friends and your partners and your employees and who you actually take on as a client? Because you don't, if you didn't know, you don't have to accept everybody. So, kind of, how do you see from your perspective as business guru, how does all this work?
So I do like, obviously we're all unique and we all have different needs, but I think it's really about understanding yourself first. When I first started this, I was just kind of accepting any kind of help that I could get. I was also accepting any type of client that I could get, which is, by the way, connected to the fear of lack. So, I'm all just adding that in. If you feel like you can take on the whole entire world and heal them, I think that's the idea we all have, but we all know that there are certain people that we can't necessarily help.
Yeah.
And that's just us. It doesn't mean someone else can't. There's just not like an alignment with that, and that's okay. That was my plug on that. But okay, so we'll go back to the relationships. But I don't even think I know that it starts with understanding you first. And there's a lot that can go into that. That just might be some self-reflection going, you know what? I just need a friend that when I just need to vent and project out, that they understand that that's what I'm doing. And when I'm all done, just asking me, like, how do you feel now? So because that's something that I need. I know what it is that I need to do, but sometimes I just need to vent it out and just get it out of my system and I'm good.
Yeah.
So I think it's really understanding yourself first. Like, I do a lot of human design work, because in my mind, that's part of the blueprint, your matrix of really how you operate and to get into alignment. Before I understood my blueprint, I'm gonna tell you, I look back on that and I was like, I was a crazy person. Like, I was all over the place. Like, I was seeking out like friendship support systems, relationships that were completely unhealthy for me, because I thought, oh my gosh, this is what I need. And then when I get in it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not what I need. And now I can't get out. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
And that's because, like, I didn't create boundaries. But once I started really learning about who I am, what is it that I need? And that's not selfish to be like, I need this. And sorry, you can't give that to me. I'm
Yes.
not I'm not saying that you're a bad person. but it's not going to help me, because if it's not helping me, it means that I can't help you,
Right.
because everything is that exchange, right? So it's not being selfish when you think, oh, this isn't going to work for me, because if you look at the other side of that, it's not going to work for them either.
Yeah,
And
I think,
so you've,
I'm sorry,
it's
go ahead.
okay to, no, it's okay to let it go. But it does all start with self-reflection. What do I need? How do I need it? And who can I connect with that has that same alignment?
Yeah. I like
So
that. What I was just gonna accidentally interrupt you with was that I think it's so important to understand that if you have to let something go, it will not create a void. It will create energy to put towards something else that you actually enjoy. And when you spend time with people, and I think and this goes for every relationship, for business, life, or love, it's an energy exchange. You, like me sharing with you is me sharing love. That love is coming through photons and energy, and someone else has the ability to accept or reject that. That's an energy exchange. You are constantly switching energy, renewing your energy. And if you are giving your energy to somebody who's like a brick wall, and they may, so for example, this could look like you say, I had this great idea, and they're like, yeah, but didn't somebody else you saw have that idea? Or I don't really think you could be the best at that. That person is taking this energy and it is not reciprocating. There is nothing coming back to you. So you're just draining yourself. It's like just pouring a cup of water into no glass. And if you
yeah.
find a person like that in your business, your partnerships, your employ, whatever it is, somebody who's making you feel negative, down, low, you dread seeing them when they come around, you don't really want to hear what they have to say, you're scared of sharing what you have to say because you believe they're going to take it from you, that person is someone you need to start distancing from very gradually if you need to, or just straight cut them off. It's okay. And like you said, it's not selfish.
And I love that you said scared to tell things to. If you have created an inner circle where there are people that are in it where you are fearful to tell somebody your idea, how even if it's way out there and you're afraid that they're going to judge you, I'm going to tell you they're not part of your inner circle. I I make sure that the people that I surround myself with, because I'm going to tell you again, like I love ideas, and sometimes I get some, and I'm like, well, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because I love to create. Like that's part of that creative energy, and my inner circle knows that about me. And if I have somebody who's like, well, you really just need to stick to one thing. Well, I don't understand. Like you have this idea and this idea, and they're polar opposites. Like, why would you do that? However it is. And if you're in a conversation where they make you feel judged, like that's not part of your inner circle. And I'm not saying that they're supposed to agree with every idea that you have, because I have friends who are like, Kelly, really think about what it is that you're saying. But you know what? The way that they say it is in a supportive idea. It isn't like, oh, that's never going to work. Why would you even think
Right.
about that? They ask me questions so that
Yes.
I can really be able to logically put it in an order that makes me say, yes, this will work. No, it won't. And I'm also a person that I'll be like, well, what do you think about this? And if they're like, no, I don't really know, like I don't really know how I feel about this. I don't know how that would work. I know that I have a relationship with them, that is their opinion. They are not saying that will not work for me. It's
Yes.
something that would not work for them, which to me is great. Tell me your opinion about it so I can have the other side of it before I make a decision.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's really important is that every opinion is an opinion and as compelled as I think there's this connection that happens when like you have an inner circle or that relationship. You don't want to disagree because there's that fear of like separation. Like it takes so much time to get just close friends, then you get close friends, and then you're like, we differ in opinion. And then all of a sudden, these subconscious thoughts of, oh my goodness, my love isn't good enough, or my friendship's not strong enough, or why are they saying this? Maybe they don't like me anymore. It can also spiral if you're not emotionally aware as well as self-aware. And so to know that those opinions are opinions, and you have the right to say, love, thank you so much, but I thought about that in XYZ, and be confident when they say, oh, okay, even if they sound disappointed, is still something that's very important and powerful because it actually grows your relationship because it creates trust. Again, I shared, they disagreed, I disagreed, we still bonded and we moved on. So it actually enhances the relationship, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I know. I absolutely agree with that. I totally agree with that. And you know, it goes back to that even energy exchange too. We also need to remember that they are human too. Again, they have their own opinions. You may have hit them up on a day where they're maybe they're going through an emotional roller coaster, and they're still your friend. They want to support you, but they may not have the energetic or the or even just the mind power or physical energy to help you. So I think that I think that when we are bringing people into our inner circle, when we are creating those relationships, it's important for us to understand. Like I always use this phrase when I have somebody come to me and maybe I don't quite have the capacity or like the container to completely hold them. And you know, in our mind, when we have an emergency, it's everybody's emergency. Right? Like that we kind of think that way, right? And you need to help me right now. But I
Yeah.
do oftentimes say, I understand. I'm not quite in the space to support you. And I'm sorry, but like your emergency is not my emergency, right? Like right now. It can be my emergency in an hour. Like I can help you. But I think sometimes we forget when we do create these inner circles. And the reason I bring this up is we need to be aware of both sides, right? When we
Yes.
create the inner circle, that we need to be mindful that if we're having a day where we're having an emergency, they're having days where they're having an emergency and they might not have the capacity. And for us to be compassionate about that as well, just as much as we want them to be compassionate about our emergency.
Absolutely. And I feel like that specific example triggered me back to parental love, inner child wounds, because that's that same reflex of mommy, let me show you, poppy, let me show you this. And they say, I don't have time right now. I can't talk right now. I'm busy. Hold on. And all of a sudden you get shook with this like, oh my goodness, it's happening again. But I think it's really good to understand like we are separate people trying to bond on different fronts. And sometimes that compassion is necessary because if and I think maybe this is also where the fear of people not having time for us comes in, because if you aren't able to make time and space for someone else, that person's then going to fear that you're distancing and they're not going to really want to make time for you either because then they're like, well, why am I giving more? And it turns into this sort of internal ego battle. So I think picking your inner circle is really important. And do you think that there is enough, or it is a good tactic to create separate inner circles for different relationship purposes? So, like one for life, one for, I don't know, business, one for traveling or something like that, or whatever your third category is, but like just different inner circles for different groups? Or do you think that your inner circle should spread over all of them, or do you think it's a hybrid?
So I do think that you can have I do think that you should have different inner circles. So let's talk about it. I think that your inner circle should be those people that like if I was having a crisis or was in an emergency, I know I can pick up the phone and call them and they would answer the phone at any time. Not saying about taking advantage of that, but you you know what I mean? Like you know that they will be there. And like I'm going to tell you my inner circle of that is very tight. So I know that there are probably about three or four people that, like, if I was like, I need some help on anything that I needed help on, I could pick up the phone, text them, reach out to them, and we could connect.
That's awesome.
Now, I do feel like I do feel like I don't feel like you should just be like, well, this is my circle and that's it, because you're missing out on a lot of opportunity to have really good relationships, right?
Yeah.
So I am going to go into the business side. So I can tell you, like, I have that inner circle that when I talk business, some of them are like, yeah, okay. And I know that they may not be very business minded, but they're still listening to support me. And again, they're supporting me in a way that they have asked me, like, how can I support you in this? Right.
Right.
And then I do feel like I have created like I call it like the woman alliance that I have, right? Where it's my business, but like as we talked about prior to this, being a woman in business also means that you're also a woman in, and all these other categories. Like you like we talked about being like a parent, a mom, like having to take care of the household, like whatever those other things are. But in that I'm going to say my other inner circle, my business inner circle, the women that I have that are in that also relate to that. So we can have a conversation about business and we can talk strategy, back end, marketing, whatever it is, getting that support and that advice, and how would you resolve this problem, having those
Yeah.
conversations, but also being able to kind of switch and be like, oh my gosh, last night I had to take my son to the baseball game, and instead of playing the game, he sat on his bottom in the outfield, picking the grass. So I think as women, I feel women are so multidimensional, and we need to be able to switch between that. um so I have like that group, and then I also have my very beautiful spiritual friends that when I want to, when I want to float in the clouds and I want to talk about intuition and like astrology and all of that, I have another great group of friends where I can do that with and get lost and play and have fun. Or even if I get stuck on something intuitively, I can be like, can you feel into this? Like, tell me what you think about this. So I don't think that we necessarily just have one group. I think that we create relationships depending on the needs that we have.
Yeah. I think also it should be noted that you don't have to hide your groups. Like I feel like when you're explaining it, someone, like maybe even myself, it's like, oh, I got to keep this group a secret, or I got to keep this group a secret from this one. And I feel like, and you correct me, they should all flow. Like you shouldn't feel as if you can't say, oh, I was hanging out with my spiritual friends this weekend, or I was hanging out with these friends, or whatever. Like you shouldn't not be able to at least express there are other people in your wheelhouse, because each person of each group feeds a different facet of who you are and meets those specific needs that you have. And so I just think that's kind of important to kind of
You
focus
know what?
on.
I do agree with you. So oftentimes my groups or my friends, they call me the connector. I can't tell you, I wake up in the morning and I have anywhere from 3 to 10 texts from people that I know saying, hey, can you help me with this? Hey, do you know somebody who can do this? Like, and I'm not complaining about it because, well, I mean, maybe that's not what I want to see first thing at 5 a.m. in the morning when I wake up. You know what I mean? Like, I love connecting people. And I feel like that's why I do have a lot of groups. But I'm going to tell you, my groups are not separate. Like, I want my spiritual friends to know people that are in my entrepreneurship, who are in my inner circle, who are in my, my just my regular personal life, that's in my relation, like my intimate relationship circle. Like, we all, like, again, we're so multidimensional. We have different facets to us. We're going to have different relationships to that. But I'm going to tell you, when people are like, hey, I have this going on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know somebody who's in this group that can help you. I love to connect them. Like, I really love getting to know people, and I love getting to know what lights their fire.
Yeah.
Because if you have this passion, I know that you have thought about it, probably excessively if you're like me. You have done your research about it. You have, like, when you talk about it, your eyes light up. It's coming from your soul. And if there is somebody that needs what you have, I know that that they're going to have something that you need when
Right.
it's time.
I love
So
that.
my groups do intermingle. If I can, if I can, there's just some people that are just like, nope, I'm going to stay over here in my little, in my little circle. But I do think that they should intermingle because think this is how I see this. If let's say on my Thursday nights when I go to my women's group that are all full of these amazing powerhouse women entrepreneurs, right? So I go there and that's all I do when I go there. Now, let's say that I am working in my business and now all I do is have this group that focuses only on my business. Now, let's say I go to hang out with my intimate partner and that's only my group. The way that I see this is it's almost like your mind starts to fragment and you start compartmentalizing everything.
I like
It
that.
can in my mind that like when we start compartmentalizing things, part of the reason that we do that is because that's how our brain works when we experience trauma. And so why if in my life period am I creating neural pathways that are so unnecessary that triggers a response in the body that says trauma? I have to compartmentalize this. Because what if I'm in the store with my intimate partner and one of my spiritual friends come up? Guess what the body's going to do? It's going to react like trauma. And I know we're kind of taking this a little bit like
No,
another
I
step
love it.
further,
I love
but I
it.
think it's really important for us to understand that mind body connection. Like
Yes.
you can't tell me you've ever had it that you've ever well maybe you can, but like you're with somebody and let's say you have another relationship that like your circle with somebody else and then you see them in the store and you're like, no, let's go down this aisle. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a trauma response. So I think it's really important for us to when we create relationships to be like, I'm okay with these relationships if everybody that I knew that I was friends with them.
I
Does that make
like that.
sense what I'm saying? I know I'm
Yes,
taking it to another
100%
level.
in more ways than you know. Yes, yes. No, guys, I really hope y'all caught on, y'all are learning and you get it. Like I'm sad this is like the short cutoff point, but if y'all have any more questions, you've got to reach out to Kelly. Like I'm gonna put her stuff in the info below and mine as well, but you were completely right, Kelly. Like it's really important that you flow between relationships. It's important that you're open with relationships. It's important that you have the right people in your inner circle. And I love the fact that you brought up trauma as well, because I've had, when I say you touch more than you thought, because I've had those feelings and I didn't understand. And so you actually explained it for me. And so if you're having these feelings listening, or you had those feelings when she said stay-at-home moms are great entrepreneurs, maybe you're having a trauma response. And so you just need to self-reflect. Is there anything, I mean, I don't even want to like deviate from this point. Like I think it's super great and it's super helpful. Guys, Kelly is awesome. She has her online series and on YouTube and we'll link that in there as well. But you've got to like and follow her stuff, like and follow my stuff because it's not just business, it's not just these surface level topics or content that we're promoting, but we really want to help you develop as a person. So I wanted to say, Kelly, thank you so much for coming on, and I think we should definitely keep it continuing because women empowerment with all the hats we wear is necessary. But I wanted to say thank y'all for also listening and coming and joining us today. And I cannot wait to speak to y'all next time. Thank y'all very much. I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.